right, traders, this is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Morning Edge webinar, and as I mentioned to you guys, we have a lot of analysis to do in a very short period of time. I'm excited to have Mark Chandler and Chris Baird joining us in a few minutes, but what we have to do is figure out, why, or where we're at, and what's going to happen from here. So let's go to the euro dollar. And we're just going to keep it on the daily and 4-hour charts. I think we can get a pretty good viewpoint of everything that we're doing here. Now, what you'll notice here in the euro, we were talking yesterday morning about a breakout above here or a breakout down here, and obviously we got the breakout above. So, so there it is. Now, what I did draw yesterday, while you guys weren't around, is I drew this extension, and I'll probably have to redraw it here. Oh no, I guess I didn't. Okay. We hit 161% extension, so you can see why is the euro stalling where we're stalling. Now, also, with that being said, we're approaching some pretty key resistance here. I mean, if you look at, obviously, we start getting to the 113.75 level. I mean, we're coming right to really critical resistance. The 161% extension, this is an overshoot. That's what's stalling us here at the moment, ahead of the U.S. Economic data. We got a ton of data coming out today. By the way, we have we have the Bank of England decision that's coming up. Actually, should be happening right now, right? Hold on. Bank of England, press conference and everything should be happening like right now. So just, we might get some volatility here in the pound. But as far as the rest of the data, oh no, I'm sorry, it's in 30 minutes. Okay, we have the rest of the data coming out in an hour, and we have Philly Fed wholesale sales, unemployment claims, current account. Then we have JOLTS a little bit later. We got a ton of data coming out. So we're not going to make it any further, in my opinion, not ahead of the data. But what we have to do is we have to monitor very closely this key resistance that comes in at 113.76, because I'll just write down 113.75, 113.75, because if we break that, that's where, it's just like the dollar yen, stops are going to get triggered below the dollar yen, stops above the 113.75. There's a lot of people that are fading the euro right now, saying a lot. I mean, a lot of day traders are probably out there, a lot of intraday, you got probably some, just different accounts trying to short it up here, thinking, okay, if it breaks above the highs, then, I'll get stopped out. So I'm sure there's a lot of people trying to build in some shorts here. Okay, we get above those highs, all those shorts are going to get clobbered. They're all going to get stopped out. Now, where's support? Because support on dips are going to be really, in my opinion, very well supported at the breakout point here, which was yesterday at 112.40. Okay, so the high here was 112.42. This will be support today, intraday. So if we have, like, let's say we have some strong U.S. economic data, I wouldn't be surprised if we just dip down here before we, made our run. Okay, so 112.40 is going to offer support today, and we've been in a range environment, and we're still in a range, but we're going to threaten to break higher here. So just so we're really, going to start threatening moving higher out of this range. Okay, now there's obviously, we got 116 or 115, 117. We got objectives to really cover, but I can stretch this trend line out. That will, if you have to imagine if stops get taken above those highs, I mean, we can take it all the way up to 114 and change. This momentum in the dollar is very strong. Keep that in mind. It's very, very strong at this point. All right, downside momentum in the dollar. All right, let's go over to the cable. Pound. Now we have the Super Thursday, Super, coming up, and anything can happen with the BOE. Now let me remove this line, because this line has been very deceiving to us. It hasn't done much for us because, and let me explain. All right, we saw this breakout. Was it last week or earlier this week? I can't remember. Breakout. Failed breakout. We got this breakdown. Okay, we were like, okay, that's heavy. And then we hit the 618. We hit the 618. Boom. We bounce again. But what that's done is that's made this downtrend line irrelevant. Okay, that downtrend line is very deceiving to us because it's not doing anything. Okay, we have you could argue we're getting stopped by a retest of this broken trend line right here. Oh, excuse me, Mark is asking for a link, so just stand by, guys. Give me a second. Sorry, just getting Mark all of his credentials. Bear with me. Okay. All right. Okay, so obviously we're being capped by this broken trend line, so we're coming back into it now. 144.30 or 144.40. This is when we filled that gap. You remember we did the gap fill overshoot. That is going to be key resistance today. If we break that for whatever reason, that means the Bank of England was pretty hawkish in today's Super Thursday, event. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but 144.40, I really don't even know what to expect from the Bank of England here. I really don't. But 144.40 is going to be key resistance. Okay, we are still in a range. Okay, support for the cable. I mean, you have to imagine, anybody who's getting long, who is probably playing this as a flag pattern. Okay. And by the way, there should be a fix for MB Trading, the Desktop Pro, later today. I was hoping it was going to be this morning, but from what I understand, there's a fix coming out. So that's why those hourly charts will be fixed.
It's been
Yeah,
released.
it has. Is there an email that went out? Huh?
No, but when I just started a couple minutes ago, there was a deal for an updater.
Oh, there was?
Yeah, so you might want to shut it and restart,
Uh,
or do the help and.
See, that's
weird. Try shutting it and then starting it and see if that.
all right. We'll do it.
All right.
Because I read that email that was sent out from those guys yesterday, and what did I was on a newer version than the one that they were talking about.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah, so I may actually have to uninstall the whole damn thing and then reinstall it. I know,
Okay.
which I'm not going to be able to do right now, but
Right, I got you. Okay.
but
All right.
thanks. Okay. So here's the cable, and so, guys, let me see if that. Yeah, see, I still have the same issue. Okay, so hopefully there's some sort of fix out there. I think I've been running I was running a new version anyway, a newer version. So that's probably my issue right now. But anyway, okay. So anybody who's playing the cable to the upside right now, their stops are probably below, especially intraday. Their stops are going to be below here. So 142.25 is going to be support. Again, I'm trying to cruise through analysis. It's not great support, but that's going to be support today, intraday. That's probably where anybody who's long, their stops probably reside right below, I should write 20. Okay. All right, let's go over to the Swissy. So there's been a lot of comments from the Swiss National Bank today for the, the rate decision. The thing about this, they could jawbone all they want, but the thing about the dollar Swiss is the dollar Swiss is approaching some major support. Okay, now everybody knows this, and I hope you guys know this. Those of you that listen, we didn't even stop there yesterday, following the FOMC. We just plowed right through that support. I am a buyer on the dollar Swiss, not here. I'm going to be a buyer down here at like 90, maybe 95.50. I have to be a little bit more articulate with this analysis here. be right through there, 95.50. We're at 96, 97 cents right now, so we still have a little bit of distance. I am getting long the dollar Swiss down there, just so you know. Now, if you guys don't know the reason why, you have to go to a monthly chart, go look back for 12 whatever years, and do this, because this is the same trend line basically. Okay, that's why I'm looking to get long that dollar Swiss down here, not here, down here. And I've been, you all know that. All of you that have listened here to the Morning Edge for the last several months, you guys know that's where I'm a buyer. Okay, but that also means that it looks vulnerable. Below 96.70, stops are going to get taken out. Okay, below 96.70, stops are going to get taken out if we break it. Now, if you're long the dollar Swiss, you have to think about anybody who's long. Where do they want out right now? If you're stuck long, where do you want out? If you took a shot on the dollar yesterday and you said, "Oh, I'm getting long," and this is where you're at right now, where are you looking to get out? And because right now you're going, "Oh my God, I'm getting killed. I just want out on any bounce." So you have to think about it from that point of view. By the way, this dollar yen, holy crap, it's going to do it. Is it going to do it right now? It's not going to do it right now. It's thinking about doing it right now. We're going to get to that next. Okay, where am I at? So I would think that any rally now to 97.50, traders are like, get me out of that thing. Okay, 97.50, that's going to be, and then all the way up to 98. So 2 levels of resistance. Dollar yen broke. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Watch the dollar. How many of you guys are short the dollar yen with me? Because right now I'm loving life. Woo! Man, sure is making up for that dollar Canadian debacle yesterday, that's for sure. Boom. Stops getting triggered. Wow. Okay, these are just stops getting triggered. Major support. Let's talk about major support. Let's go to the daily chart in the dollar yen. So the major support, and you guys have to know why I draw the fibs from this support here. Okay, this is the last low where we had a lower low or a consistent low. All right, so that's why you draw the fibs from there. Here, I have to be a little bit more specific about this number because the magnet is not going right to that point. Hold on. All right, there we go. Oh, there we go. Okay, so let's cruise back over. We have a 618 retracement at 110.37. You guys see that? 110.37. Do you see the breakout point right here? That's the yellow dotted line I've had up here for like months or weeks. Okay, that comes in at 110. Let's figure out what that high is. 110.10. Hold on. 110.10. 110.08. Okay, 110.08. It's right there. 110.08, 110.37. That tells you how important the 110, I'm going to write down 110.10, 110.10. That is, and notice I'm going to put a lot of asterisks there, okay? The reason why I'm going to put a lot of asterisks there because it's major support, all right? Major support. Okay, are we going to bounce from there? I don't know if we're going to bounce from there. I'll tell you, if we break that, it's going to get downright ugly for the dollar yen. But I think that stops could get triggered all the way down to, this 110.37 right here. I can write down 110.35 too. Here, 110.10. I need to get rid of some of those asterisks. 110.10. 10, 35. This is like a minor support. Oops, I put the decimal at the wrong spot. You know what? I'm just going to leave it like that. 110.10 and 110.35. Okay, both support levels for the yen as we get hit. Where's resistance? I don't even know. I mean, I guess that any move up to 112, you're going to get anybody who's on the long side of the dollar yen saying, "Thank God we got back to 112." You know, you would think. I think longs are getting, all liquidated pretty aggressively right now. So, you know, God, stupid bars killing me. Okay. So anyway, 110 or 112 is resistance. Sorry, I can't spend too much time on here. We are bearish. We've been bearish for a long time because of that head and shoulder pattern. Let's go over the Canadian. We're doing these really quick here. Here's the Canadian. I got out of the Canadian yesterday. We closed below that trend line yesterday. You can see the big red bar, right? Let me get rid of this. Let's get rid of the 38% retracement. We're below it now. Let's take a look at these fibs. Okay. Last move, we couldn't break 134. Okay. Last move, once we broke through 618. I don't even know. Hold on. I guess I should do this. That was 161% extension we already had out, but I just removed it. Okay. I don't know where support is here. I mean, I do. I mean, I would say it's a 261% extension down at 128, but is it? Are we going to make it all the way down there? I'm going to mark the lows today. The lows today are 129.50. Okay. 129.50. It's not great support. It's the lows from today. Below that, then you're talking 128. Resistance for the Canadian. Any move back up towards, well, I would actually venture to guess that any move back up here to because remember the breakdown point was at 131 basically. Any move back to 131, there's going to be all sorts of sellers out there, myself included. Well, I don't know if I'm going to do that today because I'll be kind of on my mini vacation, but we've gone bearish in the dollar Canadian because of the breakdown. Let's take a look at the Kiwi. Kiwi has not breached that resistance yet. We have really key resistance coming up here in the Kiwi. And that comes up right at 69 cents. Okay, we have breached the downtrend line. We've held above the downtrend line. Here, let's get rid of all this junk. We never broke down. I'm more bearish the Kiwi. If I have to play anything on the short side, it's the Kiwi, because bottom line is their central bank is cutting rates, and I'd rather play the Kiwi on the short side on some of these pairs. But okay, give you the buts. Because if we get above 69 cents, it's going to squeeze more. I'm not shorting the Kiwi. I'm just saying that if you held a gun to my head, and you said, "Hey Blake, you got to short, the Kiwi or the Aussie," I would say I'm shorting the Kiwi. Okay. Obviously, we're struggling up here as we pierce this resistance at the 68.20. I can't mark fibs from these highs because I don't know if that's the high. I can't look at the Kiwi right now and say that is the high, and I can start just marking the highs from there. Minor support will be down here at 67.70. Minor. What is it? 67.70? Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's go over to the Aussie. Again, I'm trying to fly through this analysis, guys. I might have to go just a wee bit longer, give you a couple minute break. But okay, so the Aussie, we hit a 618 retracement today. Okay, I do think the Aussie is going to 80 cents, just so you all know. I think by the time we hit this downsloping trend line, it'll be there. You guys knew that, ultimately that's where I think we're going. And I'm going to be very happy to short the, let me say this really slowly, but very clearly. As I said this a couple weeks ago, when the Aussie gets to 80 cents, I will sell it with both hands. Was that clear enough? Okay, just making sure. All right, so I am looking to short it up here, not here, up here. Okay, so we are at the 618 right now. That's 76.50. That is holding us today. That is resistance. We've gone a long way in a short period of time, and if the market continues to get risk averse, whoops, this is bullish, sorry. If the market continues to get risk averse, that may hold for today, may even hold for the next couple of days. All right, just saying, you look at equities right now, and equities are not looking good as far as risk appetite goes. So let me get rid of this. We just get rid of a few of these things here. I have to redraw them all. Okay, so this is the 4-hour chart. So where is support now? I mean, this is going to be very minor support, but I'm not even going to write that down. Well, actually, you know what? I will. I'm going to write down the spike low just below there, which is on the 4-hour, 75.81. Very minor support. So 75.80. Okay, we're going to cruise through the dollar index and the peso. Hold on 1 second. You know what I'm surprised about? I'm surprised the dollar yen break below 111 hasn't tripped more stops in other currencies. Now, that doesn't mean it won't, but it probably has more to do with equity markets are under a little bit of pressure. So, that's affecting, the yen pairs. So you're seeing pairs like the Aussie yen, Euro yen, those are ones getting hit right now. So here's the dollar index. Where is support now on the dollar index? Let's go over to the daily and let's double check something. I don't want to delete all this stuff, but we can delete that. I mean, we're coming out of obviously a triangle, so that in itself is going to put us down here. From this low to the high, the 786 retracement comes in at 94.31. Hold on, just because we were doing the A, B equals CD. Hold on, let me get rid of this and just get rid of some of this stuff. These equal moves here. See, that takes us just below that 786 retracement. So 94.25 we'll write down as support today. I don't think it's great support, but I'm sure the dollar is going to get. I mean, you can see this is a daily chart. We are really oversold relative strength wise. We could get a little bit more oversold. Of course, you can see we've been more oversold even down here as we spike down, but we're getting towards that oversold conditions here over the next couple of days. So just be careful. Any rally back to 96 is going to give us some problems, I'm sure. That is any which way you slice it. Any rally back to 95, 90 is resistance. That anybody who's long the dollar will be so happy to get out there. Okay, we are in a range longer term. Let's go over to, I want to do the peso really quick. Sorry guys, just trying to cruise through all this. So the peso's at the 618 retracement. If you guys don't know, we actually dropped slightly below. Here's your daily chart. There's a 618. There's a breakout point. There's the 786. A lot of support, trend line support. We could bounce here on the peso at 1740. Now, why would we bounce? If this market gets risk averse, they're going to start selling emerging market currencies. So 1740 is really key support for the peso. We break below that, and that's probably going to tell you there's a little risk on going on. But if this is, I'm contemplating going long the dollar Mexican peso and just putting stops below 1740. I really am. Actually, you know what? I will right now. Okay. I went long a little bit of peso, and I'll put my stops below 1740 because I think the market's going to go risk off, which might spike us back up towards 18. But you can see 18 major resistance here. We drew this all out yesterday. You know, this is support. 18 is resistance. It's too good a risk reward down here to not be long. So, which I have short dollar yen, long Mexican peso. Interesting. Yeah, I just bought a little here. Okay, so we're in a range. We're threatening to go bearish if we break below the 1740. Okay. Norwegian krona, Norges Central Bank, they cut rates. You know, getting the opposite response. But you know, we had this really long wick, and you can see we're holding below 842. As long as we hold below 842, okay, that support comes to the spike low 830. Well, 830. Okay, so resistance right now. Hold on, US dollar, Norwegian krona. Support 8.30, which is just a spike low from today. Resistance is 842 because that was the previous support. That should cap us today. And we're in a range environment. We are threatening, and we'll go bearish right now. But you can see big head and shoulder pattern. Okay, big head and shoulder pattern. And last but not least, US dollar, Swedish krona is broken down through the range. You guys know support comes up, you know, down here at 8. If you didn't get short yesterday, I didn't. I don't want to really chase it down here. Okay, I'm going to put you on hold. I know Mark Chandler is here. I know Chris Bayer is here.